all right, settle down, you future titans of industry. It's your boy Jordan Belfort back in the house, and I'm not here to talk about your charm. I'm here to talk about power. I'm here to talk about influence. I'm here to teach you how to speak like a CEO and command anything you want. Look around you. In every boardroom, every negotiation, every single interaction, the game is won or lost long before the contracts are signed or the money changes hands. It's won or lost in the language you use, the tone you project, the unshakable conviction that radiates from your very core. A weak voice gets weak results. A powerful voice that commands respect, that opens doors, that extracts fortunes from the jaws of uncertainty. Most people out there, they're still mumbling, they're asking for permission, they're hoping for a lucky break, they're negotiating with fear. That's for the sheep, that's for the victims. You, my friends, are here to learn how to weaponize your voice, how to turn every word you utter into an instrument of your will, how to make people want to give you anything you ask for. This isn't about vocabulary, it's about authority, tonality, and framing. We're diving deep into the raw, unfiltered psychological triggers that dissect the communication patterns of the world's most powerful CEOs and leaders. You will learn to articulate your vision with unshakable conviction, to negotiate with cold precision, and to make every word you utter a masterstroke of influence. Stop asking for permission. Stop waiting for someone to give you a handout. It's time to start speaking like you own the place. Are you ready to stop wishing and start winning? Are you ready to unlock the secrets that'll make you unstoppable? Then buckle up, because the verbal warfare begins now. 1. The foundation of authority, speaking from unshakable certainty. Listen up. Before you can even think about influencing anyone else, you gotta influence yourself. And that, my friends, starts with unshakable certainty. This isn't just a mindset, it's a declaration of war on doubt. When you speak, people are listening for one thing above all else: your conviction. If you don't believe what you're saying, why the hell should anyone else? Act as if it's already done. Your life bends to your assumptions. The way you expect things to go is the way they usually go. Not because of fate, but because of focus. Your dominant thoughts pull circumstances into alignment. They shape how you act, how you speak, how you persist or retreat. What if you assumed right now that everything is working out for you? Even when it's hard, even when it's silent, even when there's no proof. That's not wishful thinking. That is mental engineering. It's how the greatest minds in history rose through failure, criticism, and fear. Example, Henry Ford didn't hope things would work out. He decided they would. He poured his belief into the unknown before the world believed it was even possible. When everyone said the automobile was a fantasy, he built factories. Thomas Edison didn't doubt after his 10,000th failed prototype because he assumed success was inevitable. He didn't need to see it, he carried it in his mind and acted as if it was already his. Definiteness of purpose, your verbal compass. A man or woman without a definite purpose is like a ship without a rudder, tossed by every wave, driven by the winds of circumstance. You must fix your mind on a single burning aim, one goal, one mission, one purpose that wakes you up in the morning and refuses to let you sleep at night. When your purpose is clear, your energy becomes focused. Distractions lose their power, noise fades into silence, and your voice, it becomes a laser beam cutting through doubt. Rhetorical question. Do you know your purpose? Do you know without a doubt what you are here to do? Because if not, no strategy, no system, no motivational video will save you. Your progress will always be temporary. Your habits will collapse under pressure, because the one thing that holds it all together is your why, your decision, your purpose. Faith is repetition, not emotion. Faith is not something you wait for. It is something you build. It is repetition. It is the byproduct of consistent, disciplined belief, spoken aloud, written down, acted upon until your subconscious accepts it as fact. The mind doesn't believe what is true. It believes what is repeated. So you command your mind to believe, and your voice will follow. Story time, the inexperienced CEO's unshakable voice. I once saw a young CEO new to the game walk into a room full of seasoned investors. On paper, he was outmatched, less experience, less capital. But when he opened his mouth, something shifted. Every word he uttered dripped with unshakable certainty. He articulated his vision not as a possibility, but as an inevitability. He didn't use fancy jargon, he used conviction. His voice was calm, firm, and precise. He answered questions not with hesitation, but with an almost chilling clarity of purpose. He spoke as if the future he described had already happened. The investors, these hard-nosed sharks, were visibly affected. They weren't just listening to his words, they were feeling his certainty. They sensed his unwavering belief in the outcome, and it was contagious. He walked out of that room with millions, not because of his resume, but because he had mastered the art of speaking from an unshakable core. That's the power of the first trigger. 2. The art of emotional control, silence, composure, and indifference. A truly powerful speaker doesn't just manage their words, they manage their emotions. A weak voice gets weak results because it betrays weakness. Learn to detach, to remain calm, and to use silence as a weapon. Mindful indifference, your emotional armor. Every little comment, every small setback, if it all gets under your skin, you're giving away your power. The truth is, the most unshakable people don't have fewer problems. They've just mastered how they react. Imagine walking through life unfazed, no more overthinking, no more emotional outbursts, just complete control. This is what it means to act as if nothing bothers you. Practical application. When faced with rejection or defeat, most people let their emotions take over. They drown in frustration. But those who understand the power of indifference see failure as nothing more than data, a learning experience, an adjustment, a stepping stone. They do not internalize failure. They observe, adapt, and move forward. Silence as the ultimate power move. In a world obsessed with noise, silence is a weapon. Most people talk to fill space, to gain validation, to prove something, but the most powerful individuals, they don't speak unnecessarily. They listen, they observe, they calculate, and when they finally speak, every word carries weight. Negotiation tactic. Imagine being in a negotiation. The person across from you presents an offer and expects an immediate response. But instead of reacting, you pause. You let silence stretch. The longer you wait, the more unsettled they become. They start second guessing. They fill the silence with better terms, with compromises, with desperation. Why? Because silence creates tension, and tension creates leverage. Composure under pressure. Pressure exposes people, some break, some fold, but the strong, they remain unshaken. They prepare their minds before the storm arrives. They understand that pressure is not an anomaly, it is a certainty. When you detach from the need for control over external events, you become unstoppable. When you understand that pressure is inevitable, you stop fearing it. Instead, you see it for what it truly is, an opportunity to refine your composure. Story time, the calm before the storm. I remember a Wall Street meeting, deal going south, tensions were high, everyone was shouting, throwing blame. My junior partner, a smart kid but still reactive, was sweating bullets. He looked at me, expecting me to rage, to fight fire with fire. But I didn't. I just leaned back in my chair, took a slow breath, and let the chaos unfold. My face was a mask of mindful indifference. The longer I stayed silent, the more uncomfortable they became. Their shouts turned into desperate attempts to provoke me. They expected me to break. Instead, I just listened, observing their tells, waiting for their arguments to unravel under the weight of their own uncontrolled emotion. When the room finally quieted, exhausted by their own drama, I spoke calmly, precisely. I laid out a new set of terms, acknowledging their points without validating their hysteria. The other side, drained and disarmed by my composure, eventually caved. My junior partner later asked, "How did you do that? How did you not react?" I told him their anger was bait. My silence was the hook. When you don't react, you steal their power. You force them to deal with their own madness, not yours. That's the ultimate power in any high-stakes conversation. Precision in thought and word. Accurate thinking for impact. A CEO's words are a scalpel, not a sledgehammer. They are precise, purposeful, and cut straight to the core. This requires disciplined thought. Most people speak based on emotion, assumptions, or what they wish were true. A CEO speaks based on accurate thinking. The mind is a factory for wealth. Your mind is like a factory, a mental factory. And whatever you think about all day long pours ingredients into this mental factory. And that's what builds the economic, social, financial fabric of your life. As you think, so you become. Your thoughts are the foundation of everything. If the foundation is cracked, the structure will collapse no matter how much effort you apply. Strip away the lies. Accurate thinking is not just a skill, it is survival. It is the foundation of all sound decisions, all effective planning, all lasting success. Without it, you are blind in a battlefield, swinging its shadows, mistaking movement for progress and emotion for truth. To think accurately is to take control of the machine between your ears and force it to deal only with facts, only with logic, only with what can be tested, proven, verified. Anything else is a distraction. Anything else is a trap. Guard your mental gates. You must guard your mind like a fortress. Information is everywhere. Most of it useless, most of it noise, most of it designed to manipulate rather than educate. The thinker who wins is not the one who consumes the most, but the one who filters the best. Do not allow opinions to masquerade as truth. Do not confuse loud voices with wise ones. Do not assume something is right just because it is repeated often. Truth doesn't care how many people believe it. It stands on its own. Clarity from elimination, accurate thinking is about priorities. What matters? What does not? Where is the leverage? Where is the waste? What is urgent versus important? What is emotional versus essential? Most people confuse movement with progress because they lack the thinking skills to know the difference. The accurate thinker sees through the clutter. He sees what matters. He moves with focus. He strikes with precision. Story time. The fact-driven negotiator. I once had a deal that was going nowhere. The other side kept bringing up emotional arguments, vague objections, and popular opinions. They were talking in circles, trying to confuse the issue. My team was getting frustrated, caught in the web of their irrationality. I stopped the meeting. Enough of the noise, I commanded. Let's deal with facts. I pulled out a simple spreadsheet, presenting only data, verifiable figures, and cold, hard logic. I spoke not of possibilities, but of certainties. I cut through every emotional appeal with a razor-sharp question. What is the concrete data supporting that claim? They stumbled. They had no facts, only feelings. By forcing the conversation to evolve around accurate thinking, I stripped their arguments of power. Their rhetoric collapsed under the weight of reality. We closed the deal on our terms, not because I was louder, but because my words were backed by unimpeachable truth. That's how a CEO dominates a room, by bringing clarity to chaos. 4. The magnet of value, communicating what truly matters. A CEO doesn't beg. A CEO commands, and the currency of command is value. If your words don't articulate undeniable value, you're just making noise. People will give you anything when they see how much you can give them. The value equation. Your persuasion formula. Fundamentally, you need to provide value. But what is value? It comes down to 4 variables. Dream outcome. What the prospect wants most. You must speak to their deepest desires. Are you helping them lose weight or become a millionaire? Different outcomes have different values. Perceived likelihood of achievement. How likely do they think they will get what they want through buying from you? If you can genuinely make it seem really likely that they're going to get this thing they really want, that's powerful. Time delay. How long will it take them to experience the result? Rich people pay for time above all else. They want it fast. Effort and sacrifice. What do they have to give up to get it? What do they have to start doing that they don't want to do, or stop doing that they wish they could? You want to get this to 0. The perfect offer. The perfect offer would be the biggest, most compelling dream you can possibly imagine, that you're absolutely guaranteed to get instantly with no effort. Site 7040, 7041. While hypothetical, understanding these variables allows you to craft offers and messages that get people to say yes. Sell to rich people. Solve big problems. This is not about selling to the wealthy, but about solving rich problems. Problems that are painful, people are able to pay for, are easy to target, and are in a growing market. When you speak to these problems, your words resonate deeper because the pain is acute and the desire for solution is strong. You get to charge rich people prices because you're solving a massive problem, not just a minor inconvenience. Focus on one product, one channel. Before you diversify, before you scatter your voice, go all in on one avatar, one product, one channel. This creates a focused message, an undeniable expertise that people can immediately grasp and trust. The fastest way to get to your first million is to build it right from the get-go and not overcomplicate your business. Your voice becomes clearer, your message more potent, because you're not trying to be everything to everyone. Story time. The impossible product launch. I once had a product brilliant on paper, but it was struggling. My sales team kept telling me, people don't see the value, it's too expensive. I knew the product was good, but our message wasn't cutting through the noise. We were talking about features, not fortune. I gathered the team. Stop selling the product. I roared. Start selling the dream outcome. What's the biggest pain this thing solves? How likely are they to get that outcome? How fast can we deliver it? What's the absolute minimum effort they need to put in? We overhauled our entire sales script, our marketing materials, even our product delivery process, focusing relentlessly on the value equation. Every word was chosen to highlight the dream, reduce the time, effort, and skyrocket the perceived likelihood. We started articulating value so clearly, so powerfully, that the price became irrelevant. We stopped trying to convince people and started triggering their deepest desires. The sales went through the roof. When you articulate undeniable value, people will give you anything. 5. Words backed by action. The CEO's credibility. A CEO doesn't just talk a good game. They live it. Their words carry weight because they are backed by a relentless commitment to action and follow-through. If your words are empty promises, your authority is a lie. Action precedes belief. Action changes the system, not intention. You can journal about goals, visualize success, map out detailed plans, but until you act, your nervous system treats all of that as noise. Nervous systems don't fire and wire based on what you hope to do. They wire based on what you actually do. Behavior is the currency your brain trades in. The faster you move, the faster you learn, adapt, and win. Commitment is not a feeling. It's a decision. Commitment is a decision followed by action over and over again. Regardless of the mood, the weather, how tired you are, how discouraged you get, or how far away the finish line looks. You make the vow and you live it with every breath. That's what real commitment looks like. Burn the ships. No retreat. You do not leave the back door open when you're serious about winning. You do not keep a safety net when you're building a new identity. The second you allow an escape route, your mind starts negotiating with it. Your effort is split, and split effort will never create full power. When there's no plan B, plan A gets done. Persistence. The proof of your words. Persistence is not inspiration. It is the ability to keep moving when the inspiration dies. It is the discipline to continue long after the mood is left. Everyone wants to keep going when it's easy. But what about when nothing's happening? When the effort feels invisible and the pain feels constant? That is the battlefield. That is where the real are separated from the pretenders. Your words are only as strong as your follow-through. Story time. The Promise Keeper. I once saw a CEO, a young hotshot, make a grand promise to his board about turning around a failing division. Everyone in the room was skeptical. He had the charisma, the big words, but they'd seen it all before. But this guy was different. He didn't just say it, he lived it. He implemented a brutal daily protocol, early mornings, late nights, relentless focus on the core problem. He didn't just tell his team what to do. He was in the trenches with them. He got his hands dirty. He faced every setback, not with complaints, but with immediate, decisive action. He had burned the ships. Failure was not an option. His competitors were still talking about his empty promises. But while they talked, he was executing. He was building. He was proving his words with sweat and sacrifice. And when he turned that division around, not only did he earn a fortune, but his words from that day forward carried an immense weight. People would give him anything he asked for because they knew when he spoke from a place of unyielding action. His words weren't just sound, they were a contract of execution. 6. The invisible hand of influence, brand reputation, and personality. A CEO's voice doesn't just resonate through words, it resonates through the unspoken power of their brand reputation and personality. This is the subtle art of magnetism, drawing people towards you without begging for attention. Brand is association. Branding is simply an association people make between something they know and something they don't know. The thing they don't know is your business, and the thing they do know should be something they like. Over time, that positive association rubs off on your brand. It's what you say or show controllable advertising. What other people tell them referrals and what the customer actually experiences. If your customer's experience is exceptional, they will tell everyone. Goodwill compounds. If you consistently provide more value than people pay for customer surplus or goodwill, that goodwill compounds. It grows faster than revenue. You can build a $100 million brand in 3 years, even if your revenue isn't that high, simply by focusing on providing goodwill at scale. This builds a powerful reputation that allows you to charge more, get insane returns on advertising, and keep people only buying from you. The pleasing personality. You may have strength, intelligence, and a brilliant plan, but if your presence repels others, if your energy repels trust, if your manner of speech pushes people away instead of drawing them near, then your power will never reach its full expression. A pleasing personality is not manipulation or charm, but a cultivated energy that magnetizes others without begging for attention. Key disciplines: tone of voice, conviction, not hesitation. Facial expression, calm, confident presence, genuine interest, ask real questions, listen deeply, and optimism uplifts, radiates certainty. The world is full of loud, bitter, argumentative men, but the man with the pleasing personality, he doesn't argue, he doesn't shout, he influences, he persuades, he builds bridges where others burn them. The law of increasing returns. The man who does more than he is paid for will soon be paid for more than he does. This law governs advancement. You don't get promoted by asking. You get promoted by becoming too valuable to ignore. This applies to how you communicate value: consistently giving more than expected, exceeding the standard without needing credit. Story time: the quiet magnet. I remember a young protege, not the loudest in the room, not the most aggressive, but when he spoke, people listened. He had an almost uncanny ability to get people to trust him, to follow his lead, even when he was just starting out. His secret, his pleasing personality, was a force multiplier. He remembered names, he listened intently, he radiated calm confidence. He wasn't fake, he was genuinely interested. He'd find ways to add value even when he wasn't asked, giving small pieces of advice, making useful introductions, always leaving people feeling better after a conversation. He understood that his reputation wasn't built on what he said he would do, but on what he had done consistently, reliably. He wasn't chasing attention. He was commanding it through character. His brand grew organically by word of mouth because people genuinely liked doing business with him. He didn't need to shout his value. His value was undeniable, reflected in every interaction. That's the invisible hand of influence that makes people want to give you anything. 7. The multiplier effect. Building your circle of dominance. No man rises alone. No CEO operates in isolation. While discipline is forged in solitude, acceleration is born in alignment. If your presence is repelling others, if your energy repels trust, then your power will never reach its full expression. The power of proximity. You become like the minds you consistently align with. Your thoughts are shaped by your circle. Your energy is influenced by your environment. Your identity is forged in the company you keep. You cannot expect to carry the mindset of a lion while walking with sheep. The mastermind alliance. This is not just a group of friends. It is a mental alliance. A convergence of aligned minds moving with a shared intention to elevate, not distract, to build, not entertain, to sharpen, not soften. You must seek this or you must build it. This means finding people who speak with clarity, who move with purpose, who understand what silence means, who don't need to be reminded of the mission because they live it. Filter your circle ruthlessly. Not everyone around you qualifies for your mastermind. It does not include people who speak with doubt, gossip, chase comfort, mock discipline, or wait for permission to move. You must remove them from your mental atmosphere immediately. A single weak mind in your circle can dilute the fire you're building. If a man does not feed your vision, he bleeds it. If he does not mirror your commitment, he distracts you from it. The multiplier effect of alignment. When you connect your mind to others moving with the same fire, something miraculous happens. You become faster, stronger, more focused. You multiply your energy, you compress timelines, you begin to unlock ideas you never would have seen on your own because the mastermind brings perspective. Every conversation is a strategy session. Every connection is a resource. Every alliance is a multiplier. Story time, the silent council. Early in my career, I realized I couldn't do it alone. I was smart, driven, but I had blind spots. I started seeking out individuals who were operating at a higher level, people who didn't just talk about success, they lived it. I formed an unofficial mastermind alliance. We were a small, tightly knit group, not of friends in the traditional sense, but of co-conspirators in domination. We met quietly, regularly. There was no room for ego, no tolerance for excuses. Every conversation was about strategy, solutions, and how to get to the next level. If someone was stuck, the others would relentlessly dissect the problem, challenging every assumption until a clear path emerged. If someone was tempted by a distraction, they were swiftly reminded of the mission. My competitors were out there, isolated, believing they could do it all themselves. They were trying to be smart, but they were alone. My mastermind amplified my every strength, covered every weakness, and gave me insights I never would have found on my own. We moved with a collective force that bent reality. That's the multiplier effect. When you surround yourself with power, your voice gains a new dimension, a collective authority that the world cannot ignore. You've heard it. The blueprint for how to speak like a CEO and command anything you want. This isn't just about sounding good. It's about becoming the embodiment of power, influence, and unshakable certainty. We dissected the core tenets. The foundation of authority. Speak from unshakable certainty, rooted in definite purpose and unwavering faith. The art of emotional control. Use silence, composure, and mindful indifference to disarm and dominate. Precision in thought and word. Master accurate thinking to ensure every word cuts through noise and delivers impact. The magnet of value. Communicate undeniable value by understanding what truly matters to your audience, turning every pitch into an irresistible offer. Words backed by action. Forge credibility by letting your relentless execution prove your promises, building trust and authority. The invisible hand of influence. Cultivate your brand, reputation, and personality to create a magnetic presence that attracts loyalty and resources. The multiplier effect. Build a powerful mastermind alliance that amplifies your voice and strategic advantage, ensuring you never operate alone. This isn't a speech to forget. It's a mental installation. The way you speak dictates how the world responds to you. A weak voice gets weak results. A powerful voice commands respect and opens doors. Your future depends on the commands you issue to yourself and the world. So go forth. Apply these truths. Command your thoughts. Master your emotions. Speak with clarity and conviction. Back your words with relentless action. And let your voice, your presence, and your undeniable results make the world give you anything you demand. Stop asking for permission. Start speaking like you own the place. Your empire awaits. Now go get it.